Ladies and gentlemen, many of the macroeconomic indicators are out, and it's very clear what's going to happen or what's happening right now in the world. And today I'll be covering them and the implications to the financial market. And let's watch on to them while I release some more news that are important. Biggest challenge to me, which is the crab. Okay, the last time I ever did it for you is how to do it?
Just put it inside.
Okay.
Should be nice.
So what I'll be covering today will be a quick market updates from yesterday and explaining what's happening and what are the official predictors of the macroeconomic outlook of the major economic blocs, precisely the US, EU, China, Japan, Singapore, and what should we do with this economic outlook? And I'll be covering what I'll be touching on tonight in our live stream. So these are my usual disclaimers, and let's go. So the US Federal Reserve officials have came out and signaled that the interest rate are likely to stay on, okay, until at least September. And this would mean that the next two meetings that's going to happen in June, July, we're unlikely to see interest rate cuts that everybody has been hoping for. So two Federal Reserve officials, including New York Federal Reserve President John Williams, suggest that policymakers may not be ready to lower interest rate before September as they confront a very murky economic outlook, right? Not very clear. It's not going to be in June that we're going to understand what's happening here or in July. And so make it very clear. June, July, forget it, We're not going to be able to see through what's happening. It's going to be a collection of data processed to get a better picture and watching things as they develop. So the Minneapolis Federal Reserve President Neil also said that U.S. economy is on a strong footing in the early part of this year, and the central bank has lowered inflation a lot already. But because of the tariffs that is thrown by Donald Trump, policy makers have cast a curveball, leaving policy makers on hold for now. So there's a lot of uncertainty that we are trying to navigate. It's really just wait and see until we get more information. So with this, surprisingly, the certainty of an interest rate cut is now increased towards a September rate cut. And now in September, people are predicting that that there will be an interest rate cut of 25% or more. So about half of it says that there will be a 25% rate cut. About 20% each will say that it will be a more than 25% rate cut. So total, a rate cut percent is hovering around 72, 73%. So majority people now feels that the rate cut is certain, at least in September. And this turns out to be a good news that at least there'll be one rate cut, because before that, people were more thinking that there could even be a interest rate hold for the rest of the year or even interest rate rise. So the stock market actually react positively to this news, right? So the S&P 500 actually went negative initially because of all the bad news that we talked in our previous video. Then it rose and rose and rose and rose and rose, and at some point it actually turned green, and then it went down and more or less kind of break even at this kind of reading. But anyway, at this kind of S&P 500 reading, we're actually very close to the all-time high again. But unfortunately, the US dollar has went down. So those people with a strong S&P 500, NASDAQ, and other US asset position, you will notice that despite us drawing closer, you are still a notch less than what it used to be. But it's good that we all held on to our positions that will compound over a long period of time. So the NASDAQ as well kind of break even from yesterday. The US Treasuries remain to be a point of concern by many financial institutions that something bad might happen. So it remained depressed. Everyone is kind of concerned that the US Treasury may see more lows and therefore are not optimistic about it. But at this juncture, it's kind of still break even compared to the day before. But the yields remain very high. So I think there remains now two groups of people. One group that believe that there's more downside. The other one would actually believe that at the current yields, they are very strong right now. Okay. So let's take a look at the macroeconomic outlook. Given now we have got the interest rate indicators, now we look at the GDP indicator. One of the powerful indicators that's watched by the Federal Reserve is this thing called the GDP Now model that's developed by the Atlanta Federal Reserve, and it's indicating now that there'll be a 2.4% GDP for the next quarter, and that seems like U.S. economy remains strong. And I think that U.S. economy is surprisingly strong and resilient despite all the chaos. I cannot say the same for the rest of the world, but certainly those people that bet against the U.S. Should really watch this space with a careful eye. But let's take a look at China, shall we? So China retail sales have disappointed as stimulus failed to spur demand. So I've said this before, and I'll say again: the hope that expansionary monetary policy that is done by the Bank of China to stimulate demand is now in what we call a liquidity trap. I said again and again and again and again. We saw this in a Great Depression. We saw this in Japan. We now are seeing it in China as well. So I already predicted that those stimulus measures is not going to be useful in stimulating domestic demand. So retail sales rose 5.1%, missing analyst expectation of 5.5%, and that's not very exciting, despite a lot of stimulus being thrown in. But interestingly, the industrial output grew by 6.1% year on year in April, stronger than analyst expectation of 5.5%. While slowing from the 7.7% jump in March. I think this is some noise inside because there's a lot of building up of output to rush to beat the tariff that's going to build up. But let's not forget that right now there's also a reprieve of down to 30% from the high of 100%. So this month, there's also a massive buildup of export as well. Fear of more export tariffs in future will probably cause now the export to much more as well. So there are reports that the U.S. economy remained resilient in April despite U.S. tariff. I would be a bit more trying to think of the right word to use. I'll be a bit more cautious in reading some of these signals for two reasons. Number one, I at this juncture doubt the accuracy of some of these numbers, but even if these numbers are accurate, I think that the outlook of China still remain a bit murky because they really depend on U.S. economy a lot. So far, all the Chinese related businessmen that I spoke to has a very grim picture of what's happening in China right now. Interestingly, as I think that the trade war between US and China has kind of simmered down to a ceasefire, there's a bit of skirmishes around, right? China now is urging US to correct wrongdoing in the AI chip curve. So China on Monday urged the US to immediately correct its wrongdoing and stop discriminatory measures after US issued guidance warning companies not to advance computer chips from China, including Huawei Ascend AI chips. So, it is something that I thought the protectionistic measures have come to a ceasefire at this juncture. Not really. Now, let's take a look at other economic zones of the world. We now see US is probably okay. China, sluggish, okay, but not a situation where it's calamity so far, but sluggish. The Eurozone forecast has been cut, and the EU Commission has lowered its outlook from 0.9% and 1.4% for this year and next year. So EU Commission has cut its growth forecast for Eurozone this year and next year as a result of the uncertainty caused by Trump's tariff war. So right now, he has cut its 20-member Eurozone growth to 0.9 from the earlier forecast of 1.3%. And for next year, instead of 1.6%, it cut to 1.4%, or sluggish. Now, when we say 0.9, it doesn't mean everybody 0.9. There'll be some that maybe is 1.5, 2, and some will go negative whatsoever. So I think we need to be cognizant that, overall, it looks pretty gloomy. Japan economy actually shrunk more than expected as the US tariff looms. And the Japanese economy has contracted for first time in a year, shrinking at a faster pace than expected. And the data has shrunk at an annualized rate of 0.7%, far worse than the 0.2% that analysts has earlier predicted. The slump was driven by largely stagnant private consumption, falling exports, okay, and so on. So this Japanese economy has recovered from a 30-year contraction and now going back to a contraction again, right? So let's take a look at Singapore, shall we? Singapore, the outlook look a bit gloomy. The Singapore trade industry has issued a statement and said that the growth forecast may need further adjustments amidst uncertainty. Trade Minister Gan Kim Yong actually said that although the China-US talks are encouraging, but the outlook still very uncertain, and trade-reliant economy of Singapore is still slowing down. So the outlook doesn't look very good for Singapore. So Singapore has already downgraded its GDP forecast to a range of 0 to 2% from the earlier 1 to 3%, and remain very, very cautious about this. So I had the privilege of having a dinner with a minister, which I wouldn't name, and I point blank asked the minister that, do you think that Singapore could go into recession? And his words was, yes, I think there could be a chance because many of the institutions, businessmen, MNC leaders, and bosses, all these that he spoke to actually are right now having hiring freeze for sure, retrenchments, okay, and possibly being hit very badly for some of the business, especially those that are export-oriented ones. So I would say the mood is very, very cautious right now for most businesses. All the businessmen that I having meet up with so far, as I come back to Singapore, all tell me that the current situation right now don't look very good. So everybody is very cautious right now, and cautious means everybody pull back on spending, and that's always very bad. So the government has warned that the 10% tariff on Singapore and the global trade war could still lead to a recession and job losses. So Singapore is going to eat that 10% tariff for sure. But we can see our government trying to cut some deals with US to see whether there are concessions on pharmaceutical tariffs and blah blah. No, just a change of environment from a trade war to a real war. When we thought that there could be talks between Ukraine and Russia, nope, that didn't yield much fruits. And Trump and Putin actually have a call, and in the words of a Straits Times, he says tone deaf, right? Tone deaf. Much of the hype Trump-Putin call failed to deliver the ceasefire deal on Ukraine. So Trump says that Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiation towards a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. Trump noted that the conversation centered on stopping the bloodbath that is killing on average more than 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a year. Sorry, a week, not a year. And it is something that is very difficult to come to an agreement. Russia is bent on keeping all the lands that is conquered and has to have a lot of concessions and things like that. Of course, Ukraine is not willing to give in to all those concessions. I think a ceasefire in that kind of environment is going to be very difficult. Now, on the Middle East war, Netanyahu now came out a statement and said that Israel will control Gaza, and that's quite shocking because to control Gaza, it means it's basically occupation, and right now Israel is pounding Gaza with bombs and bombs and bombs, and not allowing a lot of food to go in for quite a long time. Although now I think they just say that they're going to allow some food to go in. And you have Canada, France, UK threatening sanctions on Israel for this humanitarian crisis. It's actually a genocide, and that's very, very bad. So Netanyahu has previously said that he will only negotiate under fire with the militant group in a bid to secure the release of the 58 remaining hostages that are taken by Hamas from Israel, of which 20 of the 58 are believed to still be alive. But he will not end the war until total victory is achieved over Hamas, including the disarmament of this group and the exile of its leadership. I think this is going to be very difficult to negotiate this kind of deal. So what's the take on the overall situation? Number one is economic slowdown is no longer a prediction. It's a reality across the world. And I think that even US is not going to be able to escape a economic slowdown as well. And as I mentioned before, for the financial market, which is a leading indicator of the economy, I think the financial market has seen through Donald Trump's bluff and call his bluff. So Trump, I don't think is going to do something drastic that will kill the U.S. economy or hurt the U.S. financial market as well. So I think the market is reacting very positively on that, and that is good. But on the bonds market and the US dollar, things remain very volatile and dangerous. So we should see some softening as well. But I think a total crash like what we have seen before, a month ago, I think it's that kind of correction, maybe not a crash, a kind of correction. I don't think will happen again, okay, unless there are new developments. Financial market are really a very forward-leading indicator of the economy. So even though what we see is a sluggish economy right now, markets are very forward-looking, looking towards a permanent ceasefire in a trade war that everybody seems to be, very positive about right now. But all said and done, we look at stock market as a predictor of current economy is the wrong way. Is current economy that we're living right now is not an indication of where the stock market is for this current situation. So I think there is still a very high risk that there could be job losses and pay cuts, pay freeze, and so on. So we got to exercise the usual care and concern. It's very clear right now that globally everybody is slowing down. Singapore relies on global trade, so you cannot escape it. Trade war by nature is very volatile. As you can see, there still be some skirmishes between US and China and can re-erupt again. As for the real war, I think peace is very elusive. I don't think we're going to see peace in time to come. So tonight I will do a live stream sometime probably around 11. There is a interesting idea that someone has asked from it. Everybody is asking me where I get my source of information from, which YouTube channel I follow, or where I learn my Kung Fu from whatsoever. Tonight, I'll do a show all. I'll give you info by info where all my source of information is coming from. I'll introduce the channels and who I follow whatsoever. Do follow me. I'm still thinking whether I should keep that live stream. Not most of my live stream I deleted, as you can see. So join me around 11 p.m. Okay, remember hit follow and more importantly hit the alert button so that you'll be informed of my live stream. So I'll see you tonight. Okay, bye bye. Wow, look at this. Okay, this is quite challenging.
Wow.
How do you do this?
Just mix this egg sauce well.
Okay.
And down the seafood there a little bit.
Really? Oh my goodness. All right, we're gonna mix this sauce first. Okay, this is a raw egg, man. My goodness, everything is raw. Do you think we're outside tonight?
I think it's very fresh. I wouldn't.
Is it?
Yes.
I think I can't see. Okay, okay, so this is a bit of and fish roll. Okay, sauce. So we mix this with this. No, okay. All right. Okay. Be quite daunting.
I think it's very interesting.
Huh?
I think it's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man. So first thing is to cut the sizes. I cut this a bit smaller. This octopus
That is still very big.
is very big. Okay. So I cut in half.
Cut smaller, dear.
Huh? Cut
Cut
smaller?
smaller. I tell you what, why don't I cut?
Yeah, why don't you cut? Okay. So now B is cutting the octopus into bite size. So we're gonna cut the abalone. This is fresh abalone. Abalone, I'm okay to eat it raw because it's meant to eat semi-raw anyway. Okay. I think we should try something humbler first, like the abalone.
No, Mr. Lu is supposed to dip it into the sauce below. There's a sauce there.
Wow,
Yeah, you're supposed to dip it in the sauce first before you eat.
damn nice eh. Wait. Okay, I'll try the octopus next. I take one that has. Okay, damn nice.
How about prawns?
Okay, prawn is a bit. I think the one I'm most frightened is a crab, but wait, I tried once, it wasn't my tasting, but. Okay, wait.
That's why I say cut.
Okay, wait. Oh, it's slippery, man.
Slimy.
It's actually okay. Not Singapore type slimy. It's actually okay. It's not the slimy type. It's actually quite nice. Okay, this is the one that poses the biggest challenge to me, which is the crab. Okay, the last time I ever did it for you, it didn't quite like it. But you know what? 算吧，死掉。How to do it?
Just put it inside.
Okay.
Should be nice. It's good.
It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it's
Surprisingly,
nice.
man. Okay. I think it was Coco Ung told us she likes it. Now I understand why. It's actually very nice. I'm in love with this now. Okay, now this B going for a try. Okay, of the raw. Yeah, are you eating the sauce or eating the liao? Okay, now this raw octopus.
Nice.
Okay, so octopus pass. Okay, hey, you're supposed to mix this with seafood. I tell you what, I didn't realize this.
That's the prawn.
No, okay. Anyway, you try the prawn with the liao first.
No, just want the sauce.
The liao is very important. The sauce, yeah. Okay, raw prawn. Good.
Not slimy.
Not slimy, right? Yeah, not slimy.
Very, very nice.
Very nice, right?
Okay, abalone. Actually, it's just take it.
Okay. Mix with the soy sauce. Okay, and mix with this thing. Very good, right? Can come to this place?
Let me try the crab.
Yeah, the crab is you can use your hand.
Yes, I'll use my hand.
Okay.
But first,
So B just don on the gloves.
I'm ready to try the crab.
Okay, mix rich with the sauce. Put on a bowl first. Mix with the liao.
I'm going to use this one.
Yeah. Okay. Suck the whole thing in. Surprisingly good, right?
Super good.
Super good, right?
Super good. This is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super good, right?
Very, very good.
But I'm surprised that I actually graduated. Okay. Okay, second bite. Okay. There was once I tried this before, it wasn't that good, but here it tastes super good.
It's very soft. It's not like eating.
It's not slimy.
It's not slimy. It's not like eating cooked crab. You just bite and the whole thing like melts and you can suck it in.
Cool.
Very good. Very good. Must try.